Zach Wheeler is walking through an almost empty clubhouse in Philadelphia, tapping through a Young Thug album on a tablet wired into the speakers, wearing a plain grey tee with a cartoon logo from a kids show most adults have never heard of, and casually shooting an undersized ball into a mini hoop bolted to the wall. He looks like a dad killing time before school lets out, not a man about to take the mound against the two-time defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers in front of 40,000 fans. But that is exactly who Zach Wheeler is. Calm, bordering on indifferent, completely locked in without ever looking like it, old school in every sense, blunt when he wants to be, and always ready to grab the ball no matter the circumstances. Now at 36 years old, after 5 straight years as one of the most consistent arms in the league, Wheeler is putting together the finest season of his entire career, and the story behind how he got here is almost hard to believe. On paper, this season should not be happening. This is a pitcher who has quietly been the most valuable arm in the sport since the pandemic ended, one of only 4 pitchers to throw over 1,000 innings in that stretch, carrying an ERA under 3 the entire time. His postseason numbers are even sharper, sitting around 2 2/10 across more than 70 playoff innings. Since he arrived in Philadelphia back in 2021, he has been exactly what every team wants from a true number 1 starter: dependable, dominant, and unshakable, which makes what happened to him last summer even harder to process. In August, his arm started feeling off, nothing dramatic at first, just fatigue that would not go away. Testing revealed something far more serious than a sore shoulder, a blood clot forming near his throwing arm that carried real danger if left untreated. He underwent thoracic outlet decompression surgery almost immediately, a procedure that ended his season on the spot and left plenty of people quietly wondering if his career as an elite starter was already behind him. The team's manager at the time made it clear this was not the usual injury update, saying his mind was completely on Wheeler as a person, not just as a player, because this situation went far beyond the game. The surgery itself worked exactly as hoped, removing a rib to relieve the pressure building near his shoulder, but recovery came with its own complications since the blood thinners required afterward made physical activity risky for months. He could not even begin throwing again until the first week of December, which meant he entered the new year with almost no runway before spring training. And yet by February he was already trending toward normal, and by his early bullpen sessions his stuff looked untouched by everything he had gone through. His longtime teammate Aaron Nola remembers watching one of those early spring bullpens and seeing him casually sitting around 91 miles an hour, painting corners like nothing had happened. Nola figured that meant Wheeler would come back and have a solid, typical season. Instead, what he has watched unfold has left him laughing in disbelief, because Wheeler is not just back to form, he is somehow performing better than he ever has in his career. The numbers back up exactly what Nola is seeing. Wheeler is sitting on a career low ERA around 2 1600ths across 100 innings, remarkable considering he did not even make his season debut until late April. He still has not thrown enough innings to officially qualify for league leaderboards, but among National League starters with at least 100 innings, he ranks near the very top in ERA, WHIP, and strikeout-to-walk ratio. A pitcher who entered the year as something of an afterthought in early Cy Young conversations now has a legitimate case to be in the mix when the award is handed out. Right now the frontrunner appears to be a hard-throwing Milwaukee rookie sitting around 105 miles an hour with a strikeout rate near 40%. But his team is expected to manage his workload carefully heading into the postseason, and he has already missed a start and been shut down from the All-Star game due to fatigue. Wheeler trails him by only about 15 innings in total workload, meaning a few skipped or shortened starts down the stretch could level the playing field between them in the eyes of voters. Interestingly, Wheeler's biggest competition might not even come from outside his own clubhouse. His fellow Phillies starter, a left-hander who started this year's All-Star game off the back of an incredible 50-inning scoreless streak, is putting up an ERA in the mid-2s himself and racking up innings at an elite pace. Beyond him, there is no shortage of other arms building strong cases across the National League this season, making it one of the most stacked Cy Young races in recent memory. But Wheeler has made it clear that awards and recognition are not what drives him. That much was obvious when he turned down an invitation to this year's All-Star game after initially being left off the roster entirely. The whole situation, being snubbed and then responding the way he did, captured him perfectly, someone who holds himself to a high standard and is not shy about saying so when he feels overlooked, while also being someone who genuinely does not need external validation to stay even-keeled. He moves through the sport carrying both edges at once, a little irritated by things that bother him and completely unbothered by everything else. He notices the details and will speak up when something feels off, whether that is a scheduling snub or a bad call, but none of it ever seems to bleed into how he actually performs once he takes the mound. A rain delay, a rough infield, a blown call, a brutal travel day, none of it seems to knock him off course. That is part of what makes him such a relaxed presence on the days he is scheduled to pitch. Plenty of elite starters turn into completely different people on start days, guarded, silent, locked into pre-game rituals that nobody dares interrupt. Wheeler is the opposite. He will chat with teammates, coaches, coaches, even reporters exactly the way he would on any other afternoon. Sometimes he will wander out of the clubhouse during batting practice still dressed in his regular clothes and just sit on the dugout steps like it is any other day at the ballpark. That same easygoing self-assurance is likely what carried him from a surgical table to the top of the National League pitching leaderboard in under 9 months. In his mind, none of it is really that big of a deal, whether he is racking up strikeouts, facing down the best hitter on the planet, or recovering from having a rib removed from his own body. During his most recent outing against the Dodgers, Wheeler crossed the 100-inning mark for the season. Afterward, when asked whether reaching that number carried any extra weight given everything he had fought through over the past year, his response was almost dismissive. He said he had always expected to come back exactly the way he was before, or even better, adding that he was grateful for how things turned out but that this had simply been his mindset the entire time. And that right there sums up who Zack Wheeler is. A pitcher who survived a genuinely frightening medical scare, rebuilt his body from scratch, and came out the other side performing at a level he has never reached before in his career, all while treating it like it was never really in doubt to begin with.